or not come out. Pentagon policy illegally banned transgender troops from the military is what the appeals court just ruled. So the court rules transgender military ban is likely unconstitutional. And Hedges says, "See you at SCOTUS," meaning see you at the Supreme Court after the appeals court rules Trump administration illegally banned active transgender troops. So it looks like he's still going to try to get these troops banned, but the appeal court says 28 transgender troops who sued can remain in the military. So that was just came down yesterday. But I guess Hedges is basically like, I don't like that decision, so I'm going to go fight y'all in the Supreme
Yeah,
Court.
yeah, but Hegseth, who never rose, our previous Secretary of Defense was a four-star general who had to get special permission to serve as Secretary of Defense because there's supposed to be a 5-year gap between leaving the military and serving as Secretary of Defense to make sure that you're not unduly influenced in your job with by your military ties. But obviously, you want somebody who's the guy was in leadership positions at every level of being a general. He was in command at 1-star, 2-star. He had 41 years in the military. So that guy was competent. This Hegseth is 6 ranks below the previous guy, Lloyd Austin.
Right, I remember
And,
Lloyd Austin.
and the guy was in and out of the military, uh, is less qualified, less trained, less competent. And as far as trans troops goes, people defending kicking them out say, well, they're always like getting medical therapy, and how can they serve in the military? So most trans people do not have bottom surgery,
Right.
including probably 26 or 27 out of the 28 trans troops who are suing to come back into the military, which means, the biggest deal they might have is that they get a hormone injection once or twice a week, and which doesn't impair their ability to serve. And in fact, if you've seen some of the trans troops, they're bigger badasses than cis troops, like somebody who was born a woman and is now a man serving in the military and full of testosterone is maybe a badder ass soldier, if you look at photos of them training, than a regular male soldier.
Right. Makes sense. I see we got Dr. Therese here before I get to him and everything like that. I did see that there is more news that we do have that medical show with Dr. Patman, but apparently the Trump administration is announcing stricter rules for Medicaid work requirements. So, we're just going to be starting a new show on tomorrow at noon called Medicare Moments, not Medicaid, Medicare Moments with Tony Keene. And she'll be talking about some of the abuses going on, I think, in both Medicare and Medicaid. But yeah, they have now outlined who would be exempt from Medicaid work requirements. So it looks like maybe they're going to try to make things a little tougher for folks in terms of getting Medicaid and all along those lines. So they're having
No,
strictly rules.
two-thirds federal data shows that 2/3 of working age adults on Medicaid are already employed. Um, and I'm sure that, and then so 64% are working, not working due to illness, disability, or caregiving responsibilities. 28%. That gets you up to 92%. Not working for other reasons. In school, retired, or looking for work. Just 8%. So it's just Trump being a dick. It's not Trump, going after fraud. It's just, Trump who's the king of fraud himself.
Speaking of Trump and foreign folks and everything like that, it looks like the Trump administration is proposing a 25% tariff on Brazilian goods over what they're saying is unfair trade practices. So he just proposed a 25% tariff on some Brazilian goods and everything like that. So I guess he's not too happy with Brazil at the moment, and he wants to put additional tariffs on them and everything along those lines. So we'll see how this all plays out and what's going on in there.
Tariffs have been fairly disastrous for the U.S. We have basically added no new jobs since Trump imposed tariffs 13, 14 months ago in April 2025. We've maybe added one or 200,000 jobs total in that time. And in every previous year since the Great Recession, we've added between 1.6 and 3 million jobs per year. So we cut down the job growth in this country by more than 90%.
Yeah. And it looks like he's got some other tariff things going on as well because it says that he's amending the tariffs on imported steel, aluminum, and copper, and he's issued that proclamation to lower some of those and everything like that. And the U.S. has cut agricultural equipment tariffs on rising farm costs. So that all came today. So yeah, he's still doing some tariff adjustment, for lack of a better term, and everything. Dr. Sharice, how things going there in Bangladesh? We're shaking it in your world. Is that cow still making a lot of internet noise and everything like that? So how are things going in Bangladesh?
Yeah, Bangladesh, everything actually moving right now. If you want to understand country like Bangladesh economy, it's like a micro initiative, micro economics. So the global impact always do not create impact in our economy because our people are hardworking, very honest, very hardworking, excellent hardworking, and their work ethics and work standard is very high. So in any natural disaster or other thing, definitely it's create impact when we have war, when we have COVID, when we have all of the challenges. But people are so hardworking, so dynamic. They can manage. They have the ability to manage the challenging situation. So that's why I want to say that there are many opportunities. Those who do not have a job, let's say in USA, they should come to Bangladesh. Let's say many of the entrepreneurs, they are my friend from USA, from Europe. Right now, they are coming to Bangladesh for making business because it has more complex situation. So you have ability to solve many things. So what are the things right now I'm observing that Bangladesh government in terms of energy related issues they want to solve. They do focus on more green energy. Secondly, for this healthcare, for educations, for these economic issues, Bangladesh government introducing card, family card, agricultural cards, farmer cards. So different kind of cards. So these are the very micro initiative, but it has a very positive impact, right? When you have some money through your card, government pay you, you can use this money for the and this way our economy and moving. Fourth important things I always say that Islamic communities and Islamic finance. So when we have Eid festival, when we have Ramadans, when people provide zakat and all of the things, it's refresh whole economy. That is the way our yes, we are not big like USA, but our economy is manageable. That is the interesting part. I think American people, they can come, they can learn the same way we learn from North America, right? We go to Stanford University or Harvard University and learn from there and come to our country and execute it the same way. I think we can create a global North and global South communications and partnership, what we are doing right now, right, in this podcast. So that is the things happening. That is the future opportunities North America has for creating alignment with global South or South Asia.
Yeah, that makes a
Thank
lot
you.
of sense and everything like that. Appreciate you, Dr. Sharif, everything like that. Hey, Rick, are you going to the? I know there's still been the controversy around the 250, but apparently the 2026 iHeart Music Festival lineup has been announced, and they've got some pretty big names that are going to this event. So BTS, which is a popular Asian group and everything like that. Cardi B, Lainey Wilson, Muse, Snoop Dogg, and
I've been to enough concerts. I did. It's been a long time since I've enjoyed going to. They're loud. I already have hearing loss. They're crowded. I went to enough music stuff in my youth.
not gonna go anymore. I understand that and everything. I was actually watching. This has nothing to do that much with the news, but I was watching Dark Knight yesterday, and I saw that a lot of folks are getting excited about the return of He-Man. But some people are saying that it is very silly and everything like that. So is that a movie?
It's expected to lose a lot of money because uh, He-Man was what, from the 80s and 90s? He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Right.
So all the people who may remember He-Man are in their 50s, 60s, and they're not wanting to go to. You need kids to go to a movie like that. Kids have no idea who frickin' He-Man is, nor do they care. They've got Dolph Lundgren, the star of what, Rocky IV, as in the cast. Like, nobody gives a crap about, nobody younger than us gives a crap about Dolph Lundgren.
Right. That makes sense. This makes a lot of sense. I would say also seeing in the entertainment news, this is a funny article in the Telegraph where they're talking about Kim Kardashian and her latest love, which is the race car driver Lewis Hamilton, and they're saying Kim Kardashian craves stability, Lewis Hamilton values freedom. What could possibly go wrong with that combination? So basically, they're saying that they, like, this might be something headed toward disaster and everything like that. But we'll see how that all plays out and everything in that way.
Okay, let's see what else we got here. There's a lot of feuding at 60 Minutes.
Yeah, I did
A
see
long
that.
time, I think we talked about it yesterday. Longtime correspondent Scott Pelley attacked Barry Weiss and her lieutenant and said they're destroying the show.
Right, we did say that.
Let's see. So Elon Musk, when he was in charge of Doge. No, wait, is this Doge or is this him in general? No, his. Oh, I don't care. Do I care about this?
Well, you
No.
get that, whether you care or not, I did have a quick question about entertainment. And like I said, I was watching that yesterday and everything like that. And it seems to me that maybe I was misreading it and everything like that. But you follow entertainment, and like I was telling you just left, but I'll ask you, Rick. It was the Dark Knight character, one of them, somewhat based on Elon Musk, because it seemed to me like one of the characters might have been somewhat based on Elon Musk.
I don't know. I mean, The Dark Knight came out, what, 15 years ago? More than
Yeah,
that?
like 15 years ago. It was an old one. But it
So
was somebody-
2008. So it came out 18 years ago. So I kind of doubt that it was based on Musk because we didn't know much. Musk was not on people's radar
Right,
in
that's true.
2008.
Just a lot of that space travel kind of stuff and going into the world. It could have been based on Richard Branson or some of the other people that were
Yeah, it could be.
ancestors of
Yeah.
Musk that were also doing a lot of that kind of thoughts around deep space travel and stuff like that. So it could have been based on another one of our rich folks and everything like that. So that's definitely a possibility. Um, have you ever found a good coin or an old coin? Because that's one of the stories that I brought up that apparently took place in Australia. Maybe if Shaquille ever comes back, he can tell us about it. But the 4th century coin and mysterious inscriptions were found under the Notre Dame Cathedral, is what folks are saying, and it's been there for 2,000 years. I'm thinking that coin's definitely got to be worth a lot of money and everything.
So
like that.
old people sometimes buy coins. So, like, if you watch Fox News, they're trying to scare you into buying gold coins. If civilization falls apart, paper money won't be worth anything, so you need gold coins. And then old people overpay for gold coins, and then they spend all their kids' inheritance on bullshit. If civilization falls apart and you've got gold coins, but you're 82 years old, how are you going to do anyway when everything's like Mad Max?
Everything's like Mad Max and all of that.
But yeah, we did have some coins because my grandpa was one of these guys. He didn't spend the entire family fortune on gold coins, but in his later years, he bought some coins. Some of them were worth a little bit. Some of them are worthless. But yeah, a lot of families have like a senior member of the family thinking they're investing in coins when really they're getting taken for kind of a ride.
You can take it for a ride. You never know what the coin's worth or anything like that. I just happened to, just out of curiosity, have this.
Well, here's a rule about buying gold. You should be able to buy it for very close to the spot price. That is the daily price of gold. You should be able to walk into a store that sells gold and pay no more than 1% above spot, which is if somebody tries to charge you 10 or 20% above spot price, saying, well, this is a beautiful Krugerrand, or this is a beautiful, a coin from the Philippines. They're ripping you off. Most,
Hey, Dr. Sharif, what's a big hobby that people have in Bangladesh? Because like I said, sometimes people are still collecting coins here in the U.S. There's still people that are collecting stamps. Of course, we know that we've got the chess show, and there are people that are still into chess and stuff like that. But what are some of the hobbies that your students are involved in other than video games? Because we know that the young people love their video games.
Yes, this is actually very good discussions. Definitely, my students and the young people, they love to collect coin and all of the things. Um, we have a very interesting project. We call it in Bangla, it's a Bishwa Sahitya Kendra, or we call it reading books. It's a Professor Abdul Abu Said. He ran this library and books and everything. Our Prime Minister also liked this approach, and our Prime Minister also encouraging youth for reading books and so on.
Mm.
Uh, uh, Secondly, like sports is very popular. I told you about cricket and football,
Right.
which is very popular for Bangladeshi youth. Finally, social media. People are crazy to using this social media, like using TikTok, Facebook, this YouTube's, and all of the things. So people, the youth people right now, they're heavily utilizing social media for monetization, for creating their like career as a social influentials and so on. This is very interesting moment.
Yeah. Hey, Rick and Dr. Sharif, how do you think coalition governments work? Because as I mentioned earlier, Denmark has actually been on one of my dream list of places to visit, even though I've not done hardly any international travel and everything like that. But they're going to have a four-party coalition and everything like that. It'll be Mette Frederiksen's third term, but I'm just going like, we have a hard enough time with the Republicans and the Democrats, but they're going to try
but
to.
you can have functional and dysfunctional governments regardless of the form of government, except maybe for communist governments. Communist governments seem like they never work.
Gotcha.
Um,
So,
but like Israel right now has a very dysfunctional coalition government
right.
where Netanyahu, not a good guy, had to form alliances with the farthest right elements of Israeli politics, and it's led to a lot of the shit we've seen going on, not just in Gaza, but on the West Bank, where right-wing settlers just pretty much run amok in persecuting and killing the Palestinians who've lived there for centuries.
Yeah, been living there for decades and centuries and all along those lines and everything like
But
that.
on the other hand, like you've got all these little countries, the Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. You got the Nordic countries, Finland. Then they have highly functional, very nimble governments that are embracing modernity.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, speaking of that whole governments and everything like that, hey, Dr. Sharif, I was playing one of my video games. It might have been Jeopardy or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I don't remember which one I was playing and everything like that. But the question was about India and the countries that separated from India. Bangladesh was one of the answers, and I did know that and everything like that. So when did Bangladesh separate from India, and when did Pakistan separate and everything like that? And is that still a conflict, or does India want to regain control of y'all, or are they content with y'all being independent countries?
Okay, this is very good questions. Uh, and I have my own discussions. I do not want to give thought based on media, because I always say that now we have a lot of misinformation and disinformation. People are confused. First thing, um, in 1947, this Pakistan and India divide, right?
Right.
Because of this Britain and all of the political issues, Muslim and Hindu religion issues, and so on, it's a divide. So East Pakistan and West Pakistan was two different countries, two different states. But after that, in 1971, My father also part of these freedom fighters and everything. So Bangladesh become independent in 1971 and 16 December. So there is a very clear that Bangladesh has created their own identity with their own activities. Definitely, India that time support us, specifically our freedom fighters and our things and everything. Uh, this is 1971, but after this 50 years of time, uh, India some point they support Bangladesh community, some point there is a conflict, some point there is a trade barrier, some point, it's happened, right? Let's say when USA, in between USA and Canada or Mexico, you have tension some point, right? It happened everywhere. I cannot say that it never happened around the world, but this as the 17 years of time, our previous government they took the power and they do not go for pure democratic procedure and so on. So youth come to the front and they kick out the previous prime ministers, and we have our fair election, and after that new government come. So when new government comes, we also find some of the young leaders they took place in the parliament. On the other hand, many experienced and famous politicians they took these things and they go for these things. Problem with the global media or problem with this propaganda machine from India, also some point in Bangladesh, they always try to create great views, right? People only produce their things for getting more views. So if we go for constructive discussions, let's say through this podcast, maybe there is not too much of views or everything. But if you create some noise, if you create some misinformation, disinformations, false informations, go for some debate and other things, you get some great views, right? So that is the way I want to say they want to get great views. That's why they overlook the real scenario. Most of the Bangladeshi people, let's say Muslim people, we do not hate Hindu, we do not hate Christian, we do not hate Jewish, we do not hate Buddhas, we do not hate anyone. We want to create a peaceful communities, what I call wisdom community, wisdom based community. So through my wisdom affairs, through my World Talent Economic Forum, I find many different cultural people, religious people, different age, ethnicity, they come together and they make progress. So that is the beauty of natural people. Do not trust with all of the media, those who want to gain some views with some misinformation and disinformations. That is the things. But overall, I want to give big thanks to Pot TV because you are trying to bring good news, good informations, and dynamic people in the team. Thank you.
Appreciate you and everything like that. What have you seen in Drudge? And I see Jacoby's joined us as well, but he's seen some things in news that are interested him and everything along those lines. So for both you, Rick and Jacoby, what's crossing your
Drudge is mostly nonsense today. It's a little thin. I mean, we covered the major story of Trump continuing to misgovern and to be a dick and putting an utterly unqualified guy in charge of all of our national intelligence agencies, which has been disastrous for us in the past. As I said, having dipshits in charge of DNI, of intelligence, is what gave us 9/11. Lack of coordination. We have 17 intelligence agencies in the U.S., and they have to be able to share, they have to be willing and able to share information with each other and not just hoard it out of some weird sense of competitiveness. And this guy will be utterly ineffective. He's got no military experience, no intelligence experience. The only reason Trump picked him is because he's loyal to Trump. He tried to prosecute people Trump doesn't like for mortgage fraud. That he prosecuted, like Letitia James, who prosecuted Trump for fraud. He tried to prosecute her for fraud. If you buy more than one property, you have to declare which property is going to be your main residence, and that's worth an eighth of a point, an eighth of a percent, a quarter of a percent off your mortgage rate. so often because you're less likely to default on a mortgage for the place you live in. So he was prosecuting Letitia James, saying that she said that more than one property was her main residence. And she claimed not. And she showed paperwork that showed that no, she hadn't done that. In fact, she was very clear about it. And that prosecution fell apart because it was bullshit. But that's what qualifies him in the mind of Trump to run our intelligence agencies. Absolutely fucking nothing.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. What's going on in the California race? Any new news? I did see that.
Well, no, I mean we're 12 hours away from their primaries in 6 states today, and we were already losing more incumbents from the House and the Senate than ever before in U.S. history. 73 so far are either resigning or died or are running for some other office or are going to lose at the primary level. And the higher the number, it generally is an indication of how disgruntled Americans are with the party in power and how badly they're going to get their asses kicked in the midterm. Yeah, and we're already setting a record for number of retirements out of the House and Senate. And these primary results will probably give us 2 or 3 more incumbents who aren't moving on, which speaks badly for Trump's chances of keeping the House, even with redistricting, changing district lines to make sure that more Republicans survive.
Yeah, that speaks real bad for him. You told me you're out traveling. I see you're in your car and everything like that. How the gas prices looking? Because I get around by buses, so I don't have to pay attention to that much. But except for they do have to fill up those buses also. But how are you doing, and what are you seeing on gas prices in North Carolina?
I mean, gas prices are still high. I think the average is still. I think there was a drop in price recently, but not that much. I mean, it's still $1 and some more than it was 2 years ago.
National average is something like $4.29, down from $4.50 something. But we're in week 9, almost week 10 of gas being more than $4 a gallon national average, which is double what Trump promised. Trump also promised 2% inflation or lower inflation. We're going to get inflation numbers next week for May, and they will almost certainly be over 4%, which is double what you want. And it's numbers like this that got Biden in trouble 4 years ago.
It was speaking of people being in trouble, and I see Nick joined us and everything, and we've only got about another 30 minutes to go and everything like that. But some people are wondering about, just like they wondered about Biden's medical records, what's going on with Trump's medical records? Because apparently there's some things that are being hidden or that aren't being revealed about his medical records.
It's scrubbed. There's no detailed information about what's going on with his chronic venous insufficiency, his cankles, his swollen ass ankles, which is, in a guy his age, likely due to circulatory problems. They just said, he's got the heart function of a man.
Well, we do know that people have the right to privacy when it comes to their health in the United States of America.
Okay, fine. But he's the president, and generally, presidents have been more forthcoming and less untruthful about the status of their frickin' health. You've got the right to privacy, but Trump seems to have people actively lying on his behalf. He did.
Well, then attack the people that are lying, but do not attack the person that is
but he's the
protecting their
source
right
of the
to
bullshit.
privacy.
He's the guy who's encouraging them to be less than truthful. He also was given a
people that are lying.
Do
you have some evidence to bring forth other than your specious allegations?
I got a question. Counsel, you just said attack the people that are lying. Trump is lying.
Of course. Specifically, a motion for specific performance
All right,
appeals. What
okay,
specifically
so
is a
doctors
lie?
have looked at
it's really nice to just jump up and say,
all right, so
somebody's lying.
actual
That's
doctors
an
have looked
allegation.
at the reports coming out of from his medical team saying they're incomplete, and they use terms that aren't generally the weird made up terms that wouldn't be part of a legit medical report. Also, there's tons of photographic evidence. So his medical exams still say he's 6'3" and 238. And you can believe the 238. He's gained 14 pounds since his last exam, which I believe that, I guess. He got a little bit skinny for a while. But his height, you can see in photos that if he was ever 6'3", he's no longer 6'3". Now, that's a minor point, but it does show that they continue to bullshit us. And if they're bullshitting us about his height by 2 or 3 inches, what else are they bullshitting us about?
I mean, they're completely lying. Trump is completely fabricating his own record. He's done that the whole time. He tries to rant rave about trying to make him it's basically a God complex, and or this whole idolatry thing. So he's got to play into this mythos that he's building about himself.
Trump's not
yes,
Biden lied to Biden hid information too. Biden hid from the public in the White House.
Yeah, but why do people why are people so curious about such stuff that
because
really
these are the most powerful mother frickin' people in the world, and we want to know.
Perhaps Americans need to be less nosy and intrusive.
No, that's ridiculous.
Toward individuals.
No, there's a branch.
What is this? America's right to be nosy?
Yes,
as we used to say, MYOB.
Trump turns
Mind
80
your
in
own
12
business,
days.
please.
We have a right to know if he's competent to do the job.
So but the thing is,
hold on.
You want to do a rectal test on these people. I mean, this is not really.
Nick, what you're actually gaslighting the whole conversation.
I'm not gaslighting. I want to know why inquiring minds.
You're throwing in disingenuous red herring arguments throughout the whole thing to actually go down some path that isn't there. The actual president, the health of the president is important to the actual public's. It's very important to the public to understand and know what the president's health is. It's the reason there was a problem with Joe Biden and his issues that he had. So when you're sitting here saying that, you want to do all this rectal stuff, no, Donald Trump has been to the doctor for a quote unquote physical 3 times within the past 12 months. That's not normal. Then on top of that, Donald Trump has bragged that he had to take a cognitive test 3 times. A cognitive test that tests for dementia and other things. 3 times. Oh yes, 4 times. So that issue is very important to the actual American people, so they can understand what's going on with the president. Is he having a medical problem? Look at what happened to Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan had problems while he was in office, and that was an issue that we should have known about before the actual death of Reagan or before Reagan went downhill. So these things are very important to the American people and should be public knowledge.
Their opinion, it should be public knowledge. There's no law, rule, or constitutional provision I see that forces anybody running for political office to disclose their medical history, counselor.
So just as you just stated that it is your opinion that it is the majority of the American people's opinion that the health of the hold on, let me finish. That the health of the
he has the right to privacy.
That the health. You are stating that it is my opinion, but it is also your opinion that the health of the president should not be known.
Show me the law, Jacoby. Show me the law that says a person running for office has to disclose
He
all their
doesn't. Trump
medical
can tell us
records
whatever he
and
frickin'
all
wants.
their
But you
medical
said Trump.
problems.
You said Trump
past,
has the
present,
right
future.
to not disclose.
He has
medical
certainly has
information.
the right not
We
to
have
disclose.
the
Okay.
right
So-
To complain, of
say
course,
that he's
which you're
full
doing.
of shit.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. You guys have
So
the
you
total
you
right
are
to
arguing
complain,
that
but you have to
So
realize
your
that
argument,
individuals
Nick-
have a right to privacy. So that's it.
Nick, your argument is that it
Have
is
you ever
not in
signed
law,
HIPAA
therefore
forms?
it does not matter if your opinion is.
No. Have you ever signed
Is that what
HIPAA
you're
forms?
stating? Is that because
No, what I'm stating, Jacoby, is that you guys are complaining, which is you have the right to complain. Okay, but he's doing nothing wrong. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, he's doing
Correct.
some wrong things. Let me ask you this. Did y'all discuss the recent case in Chicago where the prosecutors were busted redacting and withholding a lot of evidence that proved the defendant's innocence rather than, submitting all of the data? They withheld and intentionally redacted the data that would prove the defendant's innocence. Have y'all discussed that case?
We
I
cannot
think that
discuss
also
that,
happened in
so
North
give
So
us some more.
it's about ICE again,
Right.
and the prosecutors redacted and withheld a lot of evidence that would have proven that the defendants were right and ICE was wrong. Now, instead of punishing the prosecutors because they have full immunity, which I've experienced when
Really?
they changed the evidence, like blatantly changed the evidence. And I finally asked them for the recordings and they go, "Oh, we lost them." And I go, "Well, that's okay because you okayed me making a recording and I'll submit mine." So, why is it they're allowed to just blatantly, I could understand it if they make a mistake, unintentionally forgot to submit something, but this was blatant and intentional. I think we need to start holding people accountable for these things. And
They're absolutely not. They're not allowed to do what they did. What you said they did.
but they're getting
Because
away
if
with
you
it. They're not
realize
being punished.
In Duke University, remember Duke University had this big, what was it, the lacrosse team or the hockey team? I think it was the lacrosse team. Remember at Duke, they were accused of raping somebody and they never did. And the prosecuting attorney withheld evidence. Subsequently, he was convicted and disbarred. It took a long time. The process took a long time, but he was subsequently convicted and disbarred. So if a lawyer who is an officer of the court engages in this behavior that you're describing, the report should be to the Bar Association for, sanctions to be put on an attorney because they're supposed to disclose anything that's exculpatory toward a defendant.
Well, somebody has to file the complaint.
Yeah,
with the
and
bar.
by the way, it took. This was Duke University. It ruined the
I
lives
remember
of
that
some
case.
of these children or kids, I guess. I don't know. They were college students that had nothing to do with this rape, and then eventually the
Well,
person.
okay, so
who
the
claimed rape said,
definition
"Look,
of rape
nothing
got
happened."
changed in that case. They
Right.
redefined
Well.
rape.
Well,
is
the
all
thing
they
is, the prosecuting attorney is not to withhold exculpatory evidence. So if
But the
there's a case in
prosecuting
Chicago,
attorney was wrong in withholding
Yes.
some of the evidence.
and the thing is, if so, the proper remedy is to report to the Bar Association and have this person sanctioned and perhaps even criminally prosecuted.
Well, I hope that they do that with these people because they think
Yeah.
they can just go in and redact
They cannot
whatever
do
they
that.
want.
No,
And it's wrong.
You can't.
It's
You
very
cannot
wrong.
do that. You not do that. And when I was working at the city attorney's office in Miami Beach, now this goes back 40 years ago, you did start seeing some stuff that you believed should not have existed at that level, the government level. But unfortunately, it does.
All right,
And the
Paul,
only
have
way you
fun
can
and
do
look
it is
out
you
for
got to
Balzac.
report them. I mean, you got to turn them in. That's just
Yeah.
the nature of the game.
Well,
And,
the judge
that's it.
took all the evidence against the defendants and let them go.
of course,
And
the judge
agreed
did
with
right
the
thing.
and agreed with the defendants that ICE was indeed wrong, because finally the real evidence came out and was displayed, and ICE lied like we know they
Yeah.
do. So,
Well,
did
you
y'all
know,
see the award they gave ICE yesterday? Those two
Mhm.
men that were at the facility that was shot, 14 times, 14 bullets at the facility and a van, and they gave that man an award. Oh, get this. The ICE agent knew to call 911. Did y'all see that? He
no, I
knew
didn't see
What
that.
they gave a guy an award
he
for calling
knew.
the,
He called 911 and gave them the information 911 needed, and we're going to award him for doing that. Oh God, I guess ICE agents are so lacking in intelligence,
They're
and
probably
integrity,
lacking
that
in
that was
training.
huge for them, right?
Yeah, the thing is, they may not be properly trained because where
Well,
I understand it, in your country, notice I live in Europe now, you don't train your people properly.
no, the
to
ICE
do
agents
things.
get turned out to the street with as little as 6 weeks of
Okay,
training.
see, we don't have
and
ICE
they're
agents
taught
in Spain.
and there was a testimony by one of the trainers who had been with the ICE agency for 20 years, and he finally quit and testified against them, saying that they're not only lacking in proper training,
Proper
but they're
training.
training them to violate the constitutional rights of people. And he testified in a hearing about this, and nothing happens. Nothing. I mean, we're just going to have to suffer through all of this.
Just remember, in your country, the murder rate is 6 times greater than it is in Spain, and your life expectancy is 5 years less than it is in Spain. So I know people like to look down upon the poor Spaniards, but unfortunately, they're not.
There's
poor.
a cost
And-
to us for living in the best country in the world.
No, that best country in the world is your opinion, counselor. Okay,
Well,
so
we're told constantly it's the best country in the, and actually
well,
America
I'm
is
glad,
a great
but here,
country.
as you know, Rick, metrics matter. If your country's so better, why will you die 5 years before a Spaniard? Is that a good thing? Is that a metric that makes you the best country?
Well, I get
Why
to
would
live
your
in
murder rate
Hollywood.
be
I get to
6
live in
times
Hollywood
greater
and
than
occasionally
a
make
Spaniard?
TV. And if that means that I put up with a greater risk of getting murdered, then I guess
Okay, but not only that,
I
your
don't
life
think America is
expectancy
great.
is
I think we are
less.
loud about saying it's
Okay,
great.
your
But I
life
don't think
expectancy
we
is
are
less.
anymore. If you travel, Rick, there are so many
Yeah.
other
So
places
and
that are
here
better.
you will not go bankrupt because of medical procedures because everybody's
Oh,
universally
and
covered.
you won't
In your
die
country,
because
you
you're
would.
denied. You won't die
Right.
because
So
you're
the thing
denied.
is, this whole myth and illusion of being the best country in the world, you may continue the myth and illusion, and please, most people, stay in your own country because
And
we're having a good time here.
I spent the
Spain.
better part of last month with my doctors fighting a denial for a procedure that I've been having for 20 years that works. That out of all the experiments we did, it's no longer experimental for 20 years. It's being used by other people. And we fought for the last month, and I have to have it monthly. So no, I don't think America is the better place. I think we're loudest to voice it, but quite honestly, I think the quieter countries are probably the better place.
You do have the world's largest GDP.
Spain's nice, Estonia's nice, Finland is the world's happiest country. I'm lucky that my wife is the one who sits on hold with the insurance companies when they charge us improperly for medical procedures that should be covered. My wife's the one who spends an hour and 10 minutes on hold.
Yeah.
If it weren't for her, I'd be paying hundreds and thousands of extra dollars for bullshit.
And people finally don't get it. They die from the stress of fighting for it or die. And to me,
Or they neglect
insurance
the treatment
companies have
because it's
become
too hard
mass
to get.
murderers. They're mass murderers, if you ask.
You have a big healthcare problem in the United States.
It's not a
which are-
healthcare problem. We have great doctors, but not
You have
anymore
great
because
doctors,
they're
no, but
quitting.
it's
They're
the
quitting.
money.
There's
It's the
not
money
enough
that's in there.
doctors now. I have to book
Yeah.
my appointment 6 months in advance for
Yeah.
each monthly appointment. They are booked out 6 to 7 months in advance.
Yeah,
And I'm told there's not
healthcare is
enough
good.
doctors.
It's
Not.
just really
They're quitting.
expensive.
Why
yeah.
become a doctor in this country and help people when the insurance takes all the money and pays them $10 a visit? Or or denies all of the procedures that they need to do to treat their people. I mean, why work here? Why? I mean, I'm done. I am done. I am going to start working towards doing what Nick did.
Yeah, we look at that moving too. It's not logistically. We're probably a little lazy, but anyway, we got to go. And
We gotta go. Yeah, we're at the hour.
Thanks
All
for-
right. We'll see everybody.
Thanks, Rick.
I do.
Take care.
Bye-bye.